You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
This is your co-host, Danny.
And we have a fun show for you today, but we first have to start off with some sad but yet celebratory news of a cultural icon, that being hammering Hank Aaron, who passed away at the age of 86 this morning. And let me just say that Hank Aaron is a national treasure. In listening to a lot of people speak about him, he was definitely an icon in the baseball world, but the things that he had to endure in not only chasing Babe Ruth's record, home run record, but ultimately surpassing it, have nothing but mad respect for Hank Aaron. His statistics from a baseball perspective is out of this world. The fact that he is leading Major League Baseball record in RBIs at 2,297, 6,856, and extra base hits at 1,477. And then he ultimately ranks up there in hits at 3,771, which is third all time. Games played at 3,298, which is third all time. And runs scored 2,174, which is fourth all time. That is just, a career like no other. And so I don't know about you, Danny, but I have heard a lot of talk today about Hank Aaron, and some, has said, where does he rank in the all-time greats, things of that nature. We recently did a podcast on the NBA about the 2017 NBA All-Star Game when Black thought of the Roots. And they talked about the great from the 70s, 60s, 70s and on, right?
Yep.
And at the very end of their presentation, the Roots presentation, which was fantastic, here's what Black thought of the Roots said. Who really is the greatest? None of them are. In chasing ghosts of the past, we give birth to the present. True greatness is not comparison, it's evolution. Without each era, the game wouldn't be elevated to where it is today. Greatness is simplicity, style, superstar, power. Greatness is here and now. And I thought about that quote from Black Thought of the Roots, and I thought about all the discussions that's been happening about Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, a lot of the quote unquote greats, right? And I thought about this quote by Black Thought, and quite honestly, man, he was a cultural icon, opening the doors for a lot of people, not only on the field but even off the field. So I can't say who's the greatest in baseball history. What I will say is thank you, Mr. Aaron, for doing what you have done for the culture, and may you rest in peace.
Hank Aaron was a part of the team that won the World Series in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Braves, before the Braves moved to Atlanta. Just think about that, 1957, how long ago that was, and Milwaukee has not won a World Series since. So him being a big part of that and being introduced to Milwaukee as he was coming up, like you said, and then going through the civil rights era and doing what he was doing, he was close to that record, all the scrutiny he went through. He was more than baseball. He paved the way for a lot of players, but he just did so much more than baseball. Rest in peace, Hank Aaron.
We recently did a podcast a segment in our podcast was about the Negro League baseball and Major League Baseball recognizing those numbers of the Negro League, things of that nature, right? And Hank Aaron played for the Indianapolis Clowns of the Negro League. I'm really wondering what they're going to do in terms of adding those numbers to his Major League Baseball numbers. And the other thing about adding those numbers to Major League Baseball, it's interesting because we don't know just how well or the statistics of each game really are. Even if you were to just Google Hank Aaron's Negro League stats, he had a 366 batting average in quote unquote 26 Negro League games with 5 home runs, 33 runs batted in, 41 hits, and 9 stolen bases. Let me just say that, again, emphasis on official. I believe that Hank Aaron played more than 26 Negro League games, man. Come on, man. It's a little light. So I'm just wondering how they're going to really, handle that. We'll see. And we're going to talk about the NFL. This is Championship Sunday. Huge matchups between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And then we have the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia against the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions in Kansas City. And oh boy, what a matchup both games are. And man, this is going to be awesome Sunday, man. Both games are going to be good. Starting off with the AFC, I believe that the Buffalo Bills are going to upset the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo at this point has nothing to lose. I think people have been sleeping on Buffalo. Kansas City has been playing very close games throughout the season, and I just feel that Buffalo is primed. Kansas City's defense is not the greatest. The offense is what really wins them the games, in my opinion. So I'm going with Buffalo. What say you about the AFC, Danny?
Kansas City's defense is not the greatest, and that is where Buffalo can exploit them. The key, though, for Kansas City, and I don't know how many times I have to listen to this on a telecast, is force Josh Allen to go left. It's like in basketball. If it's a righty, force him left. When he goes left, his completion percentages are down. And Mahomes' toe is an issue. So I don't know how that'll impact his throwing ability, but Buffalo has all the momentum coming into this game, but I'm still going to ride with the Chiefs in a close encounter with the Buffalo Bills. Both these games are going to be tight. They're tough to predict, but I'm thinking Kansas City pulls it out based on their experience factor alone, where there may be a player or two at the end that may put them over the top. But they haven't looked convincing in the last, 8 weeks. So they're just getting by the skin of their teeth like last week against Cleveland. But I'm going with Kansas City, but I would definitely not be surprised if Buffalo beat them.
You're going with Kansas City. I'm going with Buffalo. What score are you predicting?
I am going with 34-28.
Okay. I'm going 27-24. I think it's going to be a close one, man.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So we'll see what happens. And now on to the NFC, in where the forecast in Green Bay is going to be about 29 degrees on Sunday. Looks like about 60% chance of snow. I'm hearing 2 to 4 inches. Chances are it'll be a little bit colder. So it's going to be real interesting how Tampa Bay deals with that. Don't know if Tampa Bay is going to fly in today, which is Friday, which is you're shaking your head no, Danny. So
sounds like they're flying in tomorrow, which is a mistake.
This is going to be a close game, man. I've been going back and forth on this one, quite honestly, because I'm thinking about I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a bad game here, purely because he had a bad game against them in Tampa Bay earlier this year. With the three-headed monster of a running game that the Packers have right now. That's just going to be real interesting to see how Tampa Bay will actually deal with that. I bet you will see actually 2 of those running backs in at given time. I think that's a set that we have not seen this year by the Packers. Okay. We always just see one person in the backfield. To mix it up, I could see maybe a two running back set. I think on the offensive side for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Brady's going to dink and dunk like he always does, but then I think he's going to actually throw a little bit down the field. The Packers' defense weakness is in the middle of the field. If you throw it in the middle of the field, you're going to get a huge gain. And I think Brady's going to consistently do that throughout the game, successfully at that. So I think that Tampa Bay is going to move the ball actually quite well on this Packers defense, especially in the middle of the field, exposing the secondary. I can see the Packers possibly going into a nickel or a dime defensive package. I don't know, man. I just think that this is going to be a very close game. I'm not going to give a score because I don't know. I think it depends upon how much snow is really on the ground, quite honestly, because I think this is going to be one of those grind them out type of games. I see the Packers prevailing. I see the Packers winning, but only by like 3 points. I can only see this being a 2-point game, and where earlier in the game there may have been like a missed or extra point. So I'm giving it to the Packers, man. Go Pack, go. What about you, Danny?
Couple things that factor into my call here. Like you mentioned, Antonio Brown is out. Huge. And Vita Vieira, I think that's how you say his last name, the nose tackle, he has been ruled out. He hasn't played, I don't think, since week 2 or 3. And they're thinking he might play this weekend. He's not playing. I do agree Aaron Rodgers is going to bounce back. He's not going to play like he did when they played Tampa Bay. Davante Adams is going to bounce back. The key is, can they shut everyone else down? And this is where the Rams messed up last week by letting Lazard get that touchdown late in that game. So if they can contain everyone else and just let Aaron Rodgers and Davante do what they do, Tampa Bay has a good chance at beating Green Bay. So that means contain the run, contain the MVS Lazard bombs that Aaron Rodgers throws out there, and contain Tunyon. I'm pulling for Tampa Bay. I hate saying Green Bay's going to win because I don't want that on my conscience. But I'm going to ride with Tampa Bay to pull the upset. Even though I know dang well Green Bay's more likely going to beat them because Tampa Bay bringing their tails up here on Saturday. It's cold as all get out up here in Wisconsin. They're enjoying those 80s and 85-degree weather. So that's where when we talked in our pre-production meeting a couple days ago, it was if Tampa Bay is up here and getting acclimated to the weather, they would definitely have a good shot at winning. But now they're coming up on Saturday, and that hawk hit different up here in Wisconsin. All that being said, I'm pulling for Tampa Bay.
It's going to be interesting. Championship Sunday, you can't get any better. And now on to the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks lost on Martin Luther King Day against the Brooklyn Nets by 2 points. Very close game. And then they played on Thursday evening against the Los Angeles Lakers in Milwaukee, and they lost by 7. It's time for us to really have a discussion about the Milwaukee Bucks, especially since they have played 2 prestige teams, and I think this is a measuring stick in terms of where the Bucks are, especially in the midst of the turnover during the offseason. I think the Bucks are in trouble. What these past 2 games have proven to me is that, I don't know, man, Giannis has not improved his game. Giannis brings the ball up way too much. I believe that we need to get the ball in the hands of Middleton and or Drew or DiVincenzo as starters. Let them bring the ball up and have Giannis off the ball a lot more. They keep putting Drew in the dunker spot, and it has worked. It's been successful, but just as that is successful, and yes, they have probably one of the best offensive efficiency ratings and stuff like that in the league. Okay, but we played some bogus teams too.
Pistons 3 times.
There you go. So how good really are those numbers? And I just think that Giannis bringing the ball up, the number of times he brings it up, man, it's just way too much. He has 7 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken, in the first half against the Los Angeles Lakers. Every time that I looked at the TV and I saw him with having the ball in his hands, it was an offensive foul on his part or a charge on his part. They built the wall. It's the same thing over and over and over again. Same system, just different players. Excuse me. It's a slight modification to the system where now you're putting somebody in the dunker spot and you have, the folks on the wings. It really sounds to me, it's eerie familiar to that of what the 76ers did last season and even the season before, and where they would put Ben Simmons in the dunker spot because Ben Simmons couldn't shoot worth anything. I just think that the Bucks have a huge problem here. Unless they fix that and get a little bit more movement in a half-court setting, we need to do something with Coach Bud. There needs to be a significant adjustment to how we're playing and the scheme. I haven't seen DJ Wilson in I don't know how long. Torrey Craig, player we got from the Denver Nuggets, I think off of free agency. He hasn't played. I know he had a broken nose. I think that was his third broken nose, what have you. But he's been cleared to play for about a week, and we have yet to see him. Maybe he's getting back in shape. Maybe we just don't know. We have a huge problem with our bench, Danny. I'm looking at the game against the Lakers. The Nasses had 2 points. Bobby Portis had 4 points. DJ Augustine had 4 points. Connaughton had 4 points. And Forbes had 2 points. All for a whopping total of 16 points, man. DJ Wilson didn't play. Torrey Craig didn't play. I think we really have a big problem here, man. We have a huge problem, as a matter of fact. And I think it's something dealing with our bench or the lack thereof. I don't know. I think maybe GM Horst panicked when that trade with Bogdanovich didn't go down. And he decided just to go ahead and get whomever he could really get at that point in time. Because that was kind of towards it was the beginning of free agency, but it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So I think the Bucks have a huge problem, man. I really do. And quite honestly, I don't see this team getting past the second round. They'll get into the second round, but they'll lose in the second round. Not unless a major trade happens in the middle of the season. Who I don't even know who they would trade. I mean, you're not playing DJ Wilson or Torrey Craig. Mm-hmm. You might as well package them up and go, let them go, or you may have to put in DiVincenzo at this point in time. We don't have any pieces to really trade to get a quality player. So we're stuck. It's just a shame because I think this is another wasted year by the Bucks. What say you, Danny?
I guess the positive of all this is they only lost by 2 points to Brooklyn, which they should have actually won that game.
Yeah. Yep.
And then last night they lost by 7, but it was closer than that. And they were within 2. It was less than 2 minutes. So they're right there. It's just something's not right. Quick shout out though, before I forget, to LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron, for how old he is and all the mileage, man.
Yeah.
He was definitely the best player on the floor last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he carried him. He played 38 minutes. And they've been managing his minutes pretty well. Mm-hmm. LeBron looked good, man. He had a lot of big threes last night against the Bucks. So just want to give a quick shout out to the Lakers and LeBron and the respect of LeBron. But back to the Bucks, man, I think this is where it goes back to Giannis needs that shot where he can pull up. If they're fading on him, pull up in the lane with a little floater. Middleton does it all the time. Middleton does it all the time. Yeah. That's what he needs because if he goes to the line, it's shaky. Mm-hmm. And I know last night you could just see his body language at the line. He's not confident. And for him, as much as he goes down to the paint, if he's not confident at the line, it doesn't bode well. But I'm not as far down the panic road yet because I think they played these teams pretty tight. There needs to be adjustments. The one thing I will call out, though, Pat Connaughton's minutes, this is where DJ Wilson should be getting some of those minutes. So last night, if you watched the game, or even against Brooklyn, Pat Connaughton's getting switched on to LeBron. He's getting switched on to AD. He's getting switched on to these bigger players, where if you have a DJ Wilson or someone with some length, it's not as a disadvantage. Now, Connaughton's athletic as all get out, but he can't be going against these bigger players every night like this. So it puts them at a defensive disadvantage.
And to your point, Connaughton had 24 minutes, only 4 points, probably because he had that defensive presence. So just wanted to make mention of that.
Yeah, so that's where I think that's where DJ Wilson would be key, or someone with some height, if it's Craig or whomever, because they're getting put into defensive mismatches a lot. And teams are noticing that. And I noticed that these last 2 games, it doesn't matter against the Pistons. That's a scrimmage. When you play against these, like you said, these benchmark teams where you can compare yourself, that was something I noticed on the defensive end that hurt them. but they kept switching. And then he got mismatched a couple times where if you had a DJ Wilson in there, that would help him out. So I still think it's still early. They have time. I see, like I said, if they got blown out last night or blown out against Brooklyn, definitely hitting the panic button. But right now, get Drew Holiday to facilitate, get somebody out there to help on the defensive end. I think they can right the ship.
And just to add here, so the Bucks upcoming schedule, they were supposed to play the Wizards today, but that's been postponed due to COVID. Then they play the Hawks. To your point, Danny, I just think that the Bucks, I gave it 20 games. I was giving them 20 games to really work out the bugs here and everything. They're at game number 15. But looking at their schedule upcoming, again, they have the Hawks on Sunday, the 24th. And then after that, they're at Toronto, which is down in Tampa due to COVID, at the Pelicans, at Charlotte. So I honestly believe, and I'm going to say this, these road games, I think they're going to do a lot of reevaluating at that point in time, because this is going to be a very interesting stretch for them. And it's going to be interesting to see if they do make those adjustments. So we'll see what happens. I just don't understand why they're not playing Torrey Craig, who's about 6'7", 6'8", in height. Could be a great defensive presence for them. So. Now we have an interesting trading card scenario, +1 scenarios. And this is very interesting, Danny. I've been going back and forth on this one. Who we got?
So in our first scenario, Jason, we have Mike Evans, receiver from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2014 Panini Prism rookie card for Davante Adams and his 2014 Panini Prism rookie card. So quick bios. Mike Evans was the 7th overall pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out of Texas A&M in 2014. He has 532 receptions, 8,200 plus yards, and 61 touchdowns. And he's a 3-time Pro Bowler. Davante Adams was a 2nd-round pick, 53rd overall by the Green Bay Packers in 2014 out of Fresno State. 546 receptions, 6,500 plus yards, 62 touchdowns. 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. Jason, who you got?
This one's very difficult because of how close in touchdowns these players are. As you have indicated, 62 for Davante, 61 for Mike Evans. Mike Evans was in 5 more games than Davante Adams. So I'm wondering with how the rapport is with Aaron Rodgers and Davante, how well that really would have gone in terms of more touchdowns, etc. But then I thought about Mike Evans and who his quarterback was, that being famous Jameis Winston. In looking at Jameis's stats, when he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he never had a single-digit interception season.
Mm-hmm.
His rookie season, he had 15 interceptions. Second year, 18. Third year, 11. Fourth year, 14. And that 5th year, 30 interceptions. And I was just thinking, man, if he would have given Mike Evans, who is extremely tall, man, he is for a receiver, 6'5". As a receiver, you might as well call him almost like a tight end. Davante Adams is 6'1". And so I thought about it even more from that standpoint. But then I thought about Davante Adams, and what they have showcased a lot this season has been how defenders can't even get a hand on Davante at the onset, at the line of scrimmage. He shakes them without even touching defenders at the line of scrimmage. That's huge, man. And the fact that he's shaking them like that, and keep in mind, Davante is not like the fastest receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He runs routes very well. And I've heard multiple receivers who have retired say that Davante Adams usually runs like the best routes. So this one was difficult, man, because looking at the stats which you just provided, and I'm thinking about the quarterback situations both teams or both receivers have had. and it caused me to have a what if scenario for Mike Evans. What if he would have had a better quarterback throwing him the ball? But then I thought about, honestly, man, I really thought about the season that Davante Adams is having and the rapport that he has with Aaron Rodgers, man. He has 18 touchdowns this season. 18. And when you think about the number of touchdowns that Davante has had each season, so rookie season, okay, he's a rookie, 3 touchdowns. Then he fell off with the 1 touchdown there. But then after that, it was like 12 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns. Dipped down a little bit last year, 5 touchdowns due to injury. But 18 touchdowns this season, man, and he missed 2 games due to injury. And so when I think about that, and when I think about he is an all-pro, not just a Pro Bowler, but an all-pro as a receiver. With that, man, I'm going to have to go with Davante Adams. Give me Davante Adams all day because he is changing the game. I'm going to tell you why. A lot of these young receivers are going to actually start looking at what Davante Adams is doing at the line of scrimmage and where he's shaking them at the line of scrimmage. I think he's transcending the game, and he's not the fastest, but he is a great route runner. So that's who I'm going with, Danny. Davante Adams, what you got?
But looking at the cards themselves, those paninis in this trading card scenario, I'm going to take Davante Adams card. And the only reason I'm taking it is because I don't know what Mike Evans, his quarterback situation is going to be after Tom Brady leaves. Does his trajectory tail off in the upcoming years due to quarterback play? Versus Davante Adams is going to have Aaron Rodgers here to pad his stats. I'm going to call it pad his stats.
Come on, man. Oh, they're going to hate, man.
But he has Aaron Rodgers there. He has someone consistent to get him the ball. Versus Tampa Bay, I don't know what Tampa Bay's going to have.
At the same token, though, I mean, would you agree? Let me ask you this. Would you agree that Tampa Bay has a better receiving core, including tight end, than that of the Green Bay Packers
all day?
And so and I think that's my point. And to your point, in terms of Aaron specifically targeting Davante, he has no one else to target to. I mean, he has. Don't get me wrong. He has Lazard. He has Tanyan. Okay,
yeah, they all right. He has Aaron Jones.
You made a point. They're just they're all right. Tom Brady has everybody else. My point in saying that is if they're on a 1 or 5 yard line or whatever, Aaron just has some all right receivers. Yeah, I'm gonna specifically target my go-to because I'm gonna score a touchdown versus that of Tampa Bay, where, man, I can throw it up from 30, 40 yards, throw it up to Mike Evans, who's 6'5", or throw it to Antonio Brown. I mean, they just have Tampa Bay has a wide array of weapons.
I agree. I'm just saying specifically, though, there were times where they should be running. You would think they run the ball, but it seemed like Aaron Rodgers was like, man, F that. I'm throwing it because I'm trying to get my touchdown record.
I would be trying to do that too.
So then I look at I just numbers, and they look inflated to me. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, man.
Based on that. So the next one is Stefon Diggs, 2015 Panini Prism rookie card for Tyreek Hill's 2016 Panini Prism rookie card. So quick bio, Steph Diggs, 5th round pick, 146th overall, out of Maryland by the Minnesota Vikings, 492 receptions, 6,100 plus yards receiving, 38 touchdowns. And he's a one-time Pro Bowler and one-time All-Pro. And Tyreek Hill was out of West Alabama / Oklahoma State. In his collegiate career was a 5th round pick, 165th overall by the Kansas City Chiefs, 2016. 368 receptions, 5,300 plus yards receiving, 47 touchdowns, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 1 Super Bowl. Jason, who you got?
This one was very difficult, man. I'm still trying to figure it out. Because as I look at Stefon Diggs, and yes, he started off with the Minnesota Vikings, and we saw Stefon Diggs quite a bit against the Green Bay Packers. And every time we saw him against the Green Bay Packers, he would always do some damage against us. Looking at the numbers, the thing that stands out to me with regards to Stefon Diggs is really just the number of receptions. So he started off with 52 as a rookie, 84, 64, then 102, drops down to 63, but then comes back with Buffalo with 127. 127. Had 1,000-yard seasons 3 times in his short career. I think this time last year when he had only 63 catches with Minnesota, I think that's when they were going through all the issues in the Minnesota Vikings locker room. So, man, the fact that he had 127 catches this year, that's amazing. But then I look at Tyreek Hill and I look at his receptions, and he has never, ever gotten to 100 receptions at all. 61, 75, 87, 58, 87 catches, amounting to 368 catches. He has never reached 100 catches at all. But he is such a weapon on the field, and where, man, his speed, the quickness, they don't call him Cheetah for nothing as a nickname, man. That, man, speed is very difficult to really scheme against and match up with. But then, obviously the Super Bowl, major contributor to that, and 5-time Pro Bowler. And I think he's part of like the all decades team. So being a part of all of that, man, that's going to really almost qualify you as a Hall of Famer. Let's just be real. That's really close to being a Hall of Famer, but in a sense, his stats doesn't really mean he's going to be a Hall of Famer. His credentials, yes. So having said that, man, I'm still torn. I ain't going to lie. This one's hard. I'm going with the upset on this one, man, because I don't know. I let my receivers to catch over 100 times, man. I'm going with, because I think Stefon Diggs is going to be a Hall of Famer too. I'm going with Stefon Diggs, man. Who you got?
Tyreek Hill. I agree. You called out his receiving numbers, but if you look at his rushing, he's a weapon on Kansas City's offense, where he's not necessarily I don't call it possession receiver, so to speak, but he's just a weapon. So wherever he is on the field, you see a little Mahomes handoff, like little flip passes, and they run reverses with him. He did punt returns and kickoff returns for a little bit too, until they realized they didn't want him getting hurt. Looking at this and then looking at Steph Diggs, and I think his trajectory is only going up with Josh Allen based on this year. The only thing I worry about with Steph Diggs is who else they bring in coming up that may eat into his reception total. Because John Brown was hurt a lot this year, and Gabe Davis is pretty good. Cole Beasley's all right. So do they specifically stay with the pass like they did this year? Because they didn't run the ball much. If you look at their running backs. So he was getting a ton of targets. The only thing I worry about with Tyreek Hill's card, looking at the cards now, is his off-the-field stuff, where that could devalue his card versus Steph Diggs doesn't have that particular off-the-field stuff. Tyreek Hill didn't have the off-the-field piece. I would definitely take him hands down from his card perspective. But since he has some stuff going on, and I never know with him, and I'm looking at the value of the card, Steph Diggs right now is projecting higher than Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, from a card perspective, just due to the off the field. On the field, Tyreek Hill is a weapon like no other in the NFL, in my opinion. So I'd rather have him on my team. I can get possession receivers. Not like Steph Diggs, but someone close. But you got Tyreek Hill, man. He's tough. So trading card scenario, I'm taking Steph Diggs' card.
Okay. All right. There you have it. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.